So hello everyone. We are recording an urgent video. I will post it without any editing, without any inserts regarding Bitcoin. So let's draw right here and now. Well, let's start with this. First of all, pay attention to the retracement level 1, retracement level 2. This suggests that, well, in all likelihood, we will return here, yes, but only after the corresponding structures have been formed. Right now, notice that we have a high-quality bearish engulfing pattern. We have a technical level here, yes, a retracement to the area of 63,040. We have it right here in the area of 61,700 to 62,200, let's say. The target has not been reached. It's quite far, but nevertheless. And finally, we have a magnet. This is the most important thing right here. The 100 period moving average on the 12-hour chart, 63,400, right? And here too is a rather interesting thing. Look, we have a channel drawn here. The channel is drawn based on these points. Look, 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, right? Well, as it should be. An ascending channel, all that stuff. And right now we might test the lower boundary of the channel. Here, pay attention, I'm going to stretch it out now. The yellow level is a forming downside target, very local, but it is a sign of a decline. Accordingly, we could reach the 50-day moving average. At the same time, this is the channel boundary, but we could also go lower. Somewhere around the 63,100 area. But going lower is difficult. Why? Because we have the lower boundary of the daily range here. There it is, 63,157. It's absolutely not a given that we're going to plummet somewhere downwards right now, but a move into this zone, 63,400, is really begging to happen. It's just really begging to happen. Both testing the retracement level and testing the 50-day moving average. So that's where the moment of truth will be, right? Whether we continue further or not, downwards. At the same time, note that we have no downside targets left except for right here on the 12-hour chart. But again, that is $1,000 lower than the lower boundary of the daily range. Well, let's put it this way. It's not forbidden, but it's unlikely. Moving on. Right now, look, we are trading in the area of the 200-week moving average. It's normal to test it. It's important here that we close the week with an engulfment above 65,450. Well, we've engulfed the drop from the week before last, yes, which ate up 3 weeks of growth. Yes, the candles here are colored a bit differently, maybe it's unusual. And here is our growth target, around $70,500 or $73,000. Now let's move on to the retracement levels of a more local nature. Look, right here we have a level that played out on the 15-minute chart. We played it out perfectly right here and then went down. Here we have one, I think, that hasn't been tested yet. Yes, 64,150. So, well, before diving into the 63 area, which isn't very desirable, actually, we could go to 64,150, and that will be the moment of truth. Here on the hourly chart, it's 64,050. It would be better to just keep going down non-stop right now. Why? Because then we will form a lot of magnets on the upside. Well, something like that. Pay attention, on the hourly chart we hit the retracement level and went down, yes, as soon as we formed a bearish engulfing pattern on the hourly chart in this area, which I talked about. Well, actually things started heating up. Again, a move right here is very much begging to happen. And it would be really very good if the price action just went straight here without testing above 64. Specifically, I am looking at this key level on the hourly chart and also this same critical level on the 15-minute chart, which we need to hold. Let's delete these little magnets. We have 63,550 there on the 5-minute candles. These are weak levels, I wouldn't rely on them too much. Well, in theory, you could draw it in, although it's debatable, but there are also higher levels at 63,187, 64,187. Well, everything is clear here. Clear in the sense that, yeah, we can go to 63,000 right from current levels. That's clear, right? Now let's look at this setup. What's going on here? There are a lot of signals to the upside. There is moderate oversold territory, but it's not extreme. So on the 15-minute chart, there is very strong oversold territory, but it's not forbidden to fall lower because there is no oversold condition on the hourly chart, and the momentum of the overbought oversold indicator is pointing downwards. At the same time, the 4-hour chart is already oversold, the 12-hour chart has approached oversold territory, and the daily chart has approached a neutral state, which indirectly indicates that upon reaching this 100-period moving average on the 12-hour chart, which is essentially the 50-period moving average on the daily candles, there is a high probability of a rebound, and then an upward movement due to the fact that we no longer have overbought conditions on the daily chart. There is no overbought condition, but rather there is or will be an oversold condition on the 12-hour chart, and there is already an oversold condition on the 4-hour chart. Now let's look at the stock market. In the stock market, look, this is where the catch is. That is, we have a decline, yes, a fairly local one. But the situation itself in the stock market is very lousy. As soon as we see a break here at a new high, it will be a very powerful divergence with the overbought, oversold indicator. But as long as there is no such break, as long as it's just growth here, there are still unfulfilled downside targets on the weekly time frame. On the 4-hour chart, the movement is just downward, but this downward movement, look, the unloading is happening in a sideways trend, even though there are already 3 unfulfilled downside targets. And in principle, we could go to the orange or yellow one, around 7,680 points, yes, test the 50-period moving average on the 4-hour chart, and continue moving upwards. The 12-hour chart is heavily overbought, the daily chart is very heavily overbought, and the stock market is actually signaling that, well, the situation isn't very good. Pay attention to these black candles. Here on the 12-hour chart, here on the daily chart, it's not a guarantee, but it's a sign that the trend may have turned downwards. And that's the story. So, neither the stock market nor the cryptocurrency market as a whole is signaling an upward trend right now. Well, from the perspective that Bitcoin, yes, might bounce back to somewhere around 64,150, again, due to this retracement level on the 15-minute chart, but that would be a bad scenario. I explained why. Because it's better for us to leave these magnet-like hooks above without testing them. Then the chances that we will go to test them increase sharply. If we go to test 64,150 now, we will have fewer reasons to return upwards after we go down there, testing this level around 63,000 or 63,550 on the 5-minute chart, right? Or right here, you see 63,000, 62,700 on the 15-minute chart. So this is our target zone, essentially. It is located at the lower boundary of the daily range. And at the moment, it looks like we will go there. That's it. I've done a quick operational review. I don't know if it will be like this or like that. We would prefer the second option. So this is the second option and this is the first, right? Meaning first to 64,150 and then to 63,000. We need this one. First to 63,000 and then work out the tails, the hooks, and head towards the 70,000 area. Yes, it's not excluded that we might go straight up from here, but the stock market, let's take another look. The S&P 500, well, it suggests that there is still a probability of going down to 7,770 or 7,680, about 100 points down, or maybe 90 points. So, well, it's kind of like that. Plus, on top of everything, there's a delay here. You see, the letter D indicates that the data is coming in with a delay, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, so the market might have already turned upwards, but nevertheless. The PP indicator is pointing down on the 4-hour, on the 12-hour, on the daily it's overbought, and on the hourly it's pointing down. Well, yeah, the 5 and 15-minute are already oversold, but those are too small time frames. Said everything uploading to YouTube. Like the video, leave your comments so it gets some traction, or at least it will be available via the link.